Hey guys, welcome. Today we shall be discussing a short topic on horizontal gaze and some of its disorder. Before understanding the pathways involved in the horizontal gaze, we need to understand which muscles are involved in the horizontal gaze. So, if we are looking at a person from the front, okay, so this will be his right side, this will be his left side. Suppose a object is placed to its right side and the person wants to look at that object, then he needs to move both the eyes in right direction, right? So here what muscles, this is depicted in this picture. The right eye will move in the right direction as well as the left eye will move in the right direction, but the muscles involved are different. For the right eye, the right lateral rectus will be activated. For the left eye, the left medial rectus will be activated. Okay, so these are conjugate pairs of muscle for both the eyes. Uh, Now we need to know the nerve supply of these muscles. We know that all extraocular muscles are supplied by oculomotor nerve. Except, so there are two exceptions. So there are two exceptions which we have been studying since the time immemorial. That are, we remember it as LR6 SO4. So lateral rectus is supplied by sixth nerve, while the superior oblique is supplied by fourth nerve. You can remember sixth nerve is known as abducens nerve. So lateral rectus causes abduction, while the medial rectus causes adduction. Okay, so this movement is abduction, this movement is adduction. Okay, now with this foundation, we would further go into the pathways. Okay, so here I have represented the entire structures involved in this pathway. Let us write first the name of the structures. So the red color structure which you can see here is actually frontal eye field. It is present in the frontal lobe. The green color structure you can see here is the abducens nucleus. It is present in the pons. The purple rectangle you can see here is the PPRF or parapontine reticular formation. As the name suggests, it is also present in the pons. And the red circle you can see here is the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, which is the nucleus for the third nerve, and it is present obviously in the midbrain. Now, to understand all the lesions or all the pathologies associated with this pathway, we need to understand how this pathway is activated and what structure is activated by which structure. Okay, so here remember that frontal eye field pushes the eyes towards opposite side. So if I talk about the right frontal eye field, then it will push the eyes towards the left side. If I talk about the left frontal eye field, it will push the eyes towards the right side. The PPRF, the parapontine reticular formation, has the exact opposite function to the frontal eye field. It pulls the eyes towards itself. So the right PPRF will pull the eyes towards right side. The left PPRF will pull the eyes towards left side. So we can write here That frontal eye field pushes eyes towards opposite side, while the parapontine reticular formation pulls the eyes towards same side. Now, if a person is attempting a right-sided gaze, okay, if a person is attempting a right-sided gaze, if a person wants to see the right side, okay, so his left frontal eye field should activate because then and then only it will push the eyes towards right side. So his left frontal eye field will activate. Now this will cause activation of the right PPRF because as we know that PPRF pulls the eyes towards the same side. So let us draw it in circles. So first the left frontal eye field is activated. It will activate the right PPRF. The right PPRF will activate the abducens nucleus. The right abducens nucleus, and right abducens nucleus will cause, it will cause activation of the right lateral rectus. Also, the right abducens nucleus is connected to the left Edinger-Westphal nucleus by a tract. It is known as medial longitudinal fasciculus. This tract is known as medial longitudinal fasciculus. Now, when the right lateral rectus is abducting, at the same time the left medial rectus should also adduct, right? So the left medial, so this is established by the left medial longitudinal fasciculus. So you can see that the medial longitudinal fasciculus is is crossing the midline and is innervating the left Edinger-Westphal nucleus. This left Edinger-Westphal nucleus will supply the left-sided medial rectus. So once more, the sequence of the events. First, for attempting a right-sided gaze, the left frontal eye field will activate. It will cause the activation of the right parapontine reticular formation. This will in turn cause activation of the right-sided abducens nucleus. This through the medial longitudinal fasciculus will cause activation of the left-sided Edinger-Westphal nucleus, and this nucleuses will cause activation of their respective muscles. The abducens nucleus will cause activation of the lateral rectus, while the Edinger-Westphal will cause activation of the medial rectus. Okay, so this is how it goes. Now you see the MLF or the medial longitudinal fasciculus is highly myelinated because we want that when the right eye is abducting, the left eye should adduct at the same time, and for this coordination it requires speed, okay, and for speed the MLF is highly myelinated. Now let us look at the lesions of these areas. No, so first we should look at the structures which are responsible for the right gaze. So we have seen that the left-sided frontal eye field will be activated. It will cause activation of the right-sided PPRF. It will in turn cause the activation of the right-sided abducens nucleus. Then the abducens nucleus will connect to the left-sided oculomotor nucleus through the left MLF. Now don't forget that it is the left MLF which is activated in the right gaze. Okay, so I am writing here for right gaze, left MLF is responsible, and for the left gaze, right MLF is responsible. Now what will happen if this frontal eye field gets paralyzed? So you know they are, it's like a tug of war. Like the left-sided frontal eye field is pushing the eye towards the right side, while the right sided is pushing it towards the left side. So if one side is paralyzed, the other side will dominate and will push the eyes towards the opposite side. So if the right sided frontal eye field is paralyzed, the eyes will be deviated towards the right side or the same side or the ipsilateral side. Similarly, if left-sided is paralyzed, then the eyes will be deviated towards ipsilateral side or the left side. What happens if the lesion is in parapontine reticular formation? Parapontine reticular formation, as we have seen here, pulls the eyes towards the same side. So if PPRF is damaged, then the other PPRF will dominate and it will pull the eye towards itself. So if right PPRF is damaged, then the eyes will be deviated towards left side because the left PPRF will pull them towards itself. Okay, and same goes for the left PPRF. So, what kind of lesions can affect these areas? Let us see that. Now, frontal eye field, there are two kinds of lesions. One is paralyzing lesion and one is stimulative or irritative lesions. Okay, paralyzing lesion, the example is stroke. Suppose there is a stroke affecting the anterior cerebral artery. It will affect the frontal lobe, okay, and it will affect the frontal eye field. So the eyes will be deviated towards the same side of the lesion. So if this area is paralyzed, if this area is paralyzed, then the eyes will be deviated towards right side or towards the same side of the lesion. Why? Because the left frontal eye field will push the eyes towards the opposite side. Okay. In case of stimulating lesion, if we stimulate this right sided frontal eye field, then it will dominate and it will push the eyes towards the left side. Okay, so stimulative lesions, the examples are you can say stroke, okay, or hemorrhage. The blood is irritative to the area. So if right frontal eye feels stroke, then eyes will be deviated towards right side because of the dominant left frontal eye field. Okay, here the example is seizure. Here the example is seizure. If there is frontal lobe seizure, eyes will be deviated towards opposite side. If right frontal lobe seizure, eyes will be deviated towards left side because of dominant right frontal eye field. Okay, so whatever will dominate in frontal eye field, whatever side is dominant, it will push the eyes towards the opposite side. Okay, so it is as simple as that. Now we see the lesion of the PPRF. So a lesion of the PPRF, it is very commonly seen clinically that the patients of pontine stroke. Okay, this pontine stroke is a very common site of stroke in hypertensive patients. So let us write here very common site of stroke in hypertensive patients. The eyes will be deviated towards the opposite side. So as I explained earlier, PPRF, basically the function of PPRF is to pull the eyes towards itself. So if this PPRF is gone, then other PPRF will pull the eyes towards itself. So for example, if right pontine stroke, if there is right-sided pontine stroke, the right PPRF will be gone. So left PPRF pull the eyes towards left side. So the patient's gaze will be on the left side. The patient won't be able to move his eyes towards right side. Okay. Now let us look at the last topic of today, that is left INO or internuclear ophthalmoplegia. Now, as I said earlier, that the MLF is highly myelinated to facilitate speedy conduction of impulses from the between these two nucleus, the abducens nucleus and the oculomotor nucleus. For the speed of conduction, it is highly myelinated. So in disorders like multiple sclerosis, which affects the myelin, okay, in multiple sclerosis, the autoantibody body response is directed towards the myelin basic proteins. So in that case, both the side MLF will be affected and the patient will have internuclear ophthalmoplegia. Now what happens in internuclear ophthalmoplegia? Let us look here. So if this patient is attempting a right-sided gaze, okay, so we know that the right-sided lateral rectus rectus should be stimulated while the left-sided medial rectus should be stimulated. So normally what will happen? Normally the right-sided lateral rectus will cause the eye to deviate like this, and left-sided medial rectus will cause the eyes to deviate like this. But in case of the internuclear ophthalmoplegia, okay, what will happen? There will be lesion in MLF. So let us look here. There will be block here. There will be conduction block over here. There will be conduction block over here. So let us look at the entire pathway. First, the patient is attempting the right-sided gaze. So the left frontal eye field will activate. It will cause activation of the right-sided PPRF. Right-sided PPRF will cause activation of the abducens nucleus. So this right lateral rectus will be stimulated and right eye will move towards lateral side. But when the abducens nucleus try to stimulate this Edinger vestral nucleus, there will be a block here because of demyelination. Okay, so this nucleus won't be stimulated. So the left-sided medial rectus won't move. Okay, so there will be no adduction of the left eye you see here. So the right eye will abduct, but the left eye will fail to adduct, and this will create nystagmus and diplopia. So this is known as internuclear ophthalmoplegia. Now, how do we say that is it right INO or left INO? So that depends on the MLF that is affected. So here in the right gaze, as we have seen, in the right gaze, left MLF is responsible. For the left gaze, right MLF is responsible. So, so if left MLF is gone, okay, left MLF is gone, then the left eye will fail to adduct, and it will be called as left INO or left internuclear ophthalmoplegia. Okay, so the name of the nomenclature of the internuclear ophthalmoplegia will depend on the which side of MLF is gone, whether it is right side or whether it is left side. Okay, so and yeah, we can also name it by which eye does not adduct. Okay, the eye which does not adduct, we can call it dead side internuclear ophthalmoplegia. If I give you a scene like this, if a person is attempting, if a person is attempting left-sided gaze, okay, and so the left eye, this is right side, this is left side, so the left eye will adduct, so the left eye will abduct. I'm sorry, it will abduct, but the right eye will fail to adduct. Okay, so this will abduct, but this will fail to adduct. Okay, so this is known as right internuclear ophthalmoplegia. We call it right because the right eye has failed to adduct. So this is because of lesion in the right MLF. So in multiple sclerosis, MLF gets demyelinated because MLF is highly myelinated. That's why in multiple sclerosis we get bilateral internuclear ophthalmoplegia. Thank you. This is all for today. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something new today. You can take screenshots of the slides